Hey everybody, Tyler with Meeple Mountain here with another board game review and some exciting news for some new content coming to Kickstarter on March 9th. Now, as you can see here, I've got my collection of Everdell, and if you're familiar with this game, it is fantastic. It's a very cute, wonderfully themed, beautifully drawn and illustrated worker placement and tableau building game where you take on the role of some furry friends trying to improve the town of Everdell and build and eke out your own little area of the town by building different buildings, collecting resources, and sending your workers out through the seasons of the year to prepare and build the best city that you can. And it's just such a fun, engaging game. It has such replayability from the expansions that are already out on the market. But what's coming out on March 9th is actually 2 new expansions and a collector's complete edition version that will be out that will have one box that will house all of these awesome expansions in this title together in one place, which is fantastic news if you like big box collection stuff like I do. So the first expansion we have is Newleaf, which is actually going to add a new town and some new kind of steam-powered options as the town continues to evolve. And the next is Mistwood, which actually adds a little bit of an automated AI that can be factored in. So if you're familiar with games like Root, the automaton faction that is there that can add an AI player to buff your player counts. It also has a bad enemy that's attempting to take over Everdell, and you and your friends will have to work against them as you work to build. And so both of these expansions are going to be launched together on March 9th, but I want to share with you guys just a little bit of a sneak peek at some of the new content that these expansions are going to incorporate and introduce. I think you're going to be really excited to see some of the new stuff that's going to add just more layers of replayability to Everdell. So let's go ahead and jump in and look at a little bit of the content that I have today to show you guys and see if I can get you guys as excited about this launch on March 9th as I am. Everdell Newleaf and Mistwood incorporate a lot of new exciting cards and content into the already massive game of Everdell. You can see here just a showcase of a few of the items that are new and exciting. We have obviously a showcase of these new playable factions, which I'm very excited that we have cats who are bossy, which checks out. We have even honeybees that are contributing to the work of Everdell. And so again, each of these factions will have more kind of unique asymmetry to give you even more replayability in this game, as each of these factions will bring their own unique flair and flavor to the game. We also see that we have some of these new cards that are going to be coming into your decks. We have unique critters that if you check out the abilities on these cards, they offer some incredible victory point gain opportunities for you if you're able to collect them. We also have a new card, the Locomotive, which plays into the New Leaf expansion where you're able to play station cards. Station cards will be new cards in the expansion that will bring extra utility and asymmetry to your faction as you continue to build your city. And so we're excited to see all of the new opportunities that these station cards will bring with them as well. The last thing here to showcase that's new are these Golden Leaf occupied tokens. Now, if you're familiar with Everdell, you'll know that as you build buildings, you will occupy them with workers, units in your tableau that will live in those particular buildings. These Golden Leaf occupied tokens are a limited resource to each player and will have to be used on incredibly powerful units or buildings that you'll find as you continue to build your tableau. And so those will be very powerful resources that you'll want to save and make sure you're using the correct ones. These new expansions also feature Asymmetric Farms with additional options and some amazing options for unique critters of Corin Evertail, who's featured in the lore of Evertell. And there's also then these wonderful legendary creatures and buildings that will come out to add even new options for you to build as you progress through your game of Everdell. One of the things I love most of these expansions introduce are the new Asymmetric Farms. These farms will actually replace the core farms in the game, and they will give you some additional options as you progress through the seasons and claim your rewards. Now, traditional farms would provide a berry, but all of these farms actually allow you some alternate option as well, which gives you, again, that asymmetry that you're looking for, that ability to spec into exactly what you want to in your tableau, and have a little more flexibility as you progress through the seasons. So I'm really excited to see changes like that in these new expansions that give you even more flexibility in strategy adaptation as you progress through the seasons for your particular faction. And that is just a sneak peek of just a snippet of the content that you can expect to come out in Mistwood and Newleaf expansions for Everdell. They sent me this entire set of new card content that contains all kinds of new critters and locations that you'll be able to build and add to your tableau, as well as a whole new host of events and additional work locations that will be added to your game. And so all of this content is just a massive refresh for players that have maybe played through Everdell hundreds of times and are looking for something fresh and new. If you're like me, who still loves Everdell but has probably gotten it to the table 20 times and it still feels fresh even then, this promise of new content just tells me that this will be a game that I'll be able to have in my collection for years to come and know that it will always bring something fresh to the table. And I do want to just give a shout out just in the sense that as we've looked at what Starling's turned out for the other expansions, Pearlbrook, Spirecrest, Bellafair, each of those expansions built on each other and added these very unique ways to play Everdell. And they're all so different from each other. You're really not getting just one game, you're getting 6. And with all of these different expansions and the way that they interplay and the way that you can choose to set up events and things, the promise that Newleaf and Mistwood bring to the table is that this will be a game that will not get boring anytime soon. And if you know and have seen Everdell before, you know the quality of the components, the art on the cards, and the resources, everything that it brings to the table will be top-notch and wonderful. I do want to comment on a few of my favorite points again that I've looked at in these expansions, which is the AI, the automated faction. I think that's going to be huge. Obviously, with COVID especially, gaming numbers have been lower, at least in my experience. So the promise of having an automated faction so that you could play by yourself against the AI, or even with smaller groups, have just that feel of more players at the table, that's going to be huge. That's such an improvement, and I'm really glad to see that coming into play. The other thing that I love, I kind of mentioned it already, is the asymmetry of the farms, the extra factions, but I do love another feature that was touched on in these expansions. They hinted at the change of seasons card. So as the seasons progress, there will be some specific events or things that will pop up that make the seasons themselves even feel unique. So as you transition into seasons and claim your workers and your resources, there may be something else that happens as well. And that promise of additional changes and unpredictability, I think, is going to be great at keeping Everdell fresh and exciting for many, many, many plays to come. So I'm really excited for Newleaf, all of the trains and steam locomotives and progress that it promises. And I'm excited for Mistwood for the conflict of the automated faction and the AI that's a little bit maybe bad. There's somebody bad working behind the scenes, but I'm really excited for both of these expansions. And I'm really excited for the big box that's going to hold all of this and put it together, because I love consolidating components, so I'm really excited for that as well. So, if you are new to Everdell, you've never played it before, this Kickstarter coming up is going to be a great opportunity to jump in and collect everything if you want to, or just get a part of it, or whatever you're interested in. But you could jump in from entry level and have everything you need in this Kickstarter coming up. Or if you're a collector like me and are looking to kind of polish off the collection, finish things off, the Kickstarter launches on March 9th, and I'm really excited to see everything that Starling brings to the table for this, as this has been such a flagship game for them. It's just had so much success as it's continued to roll out expansions that have just gotten bigger and better. So I'm really excited for this final cherry on top as they kind of put the ribbon on Everdell and we get this complete edition that's coming out, and just all of the amazing content that they've built into this IP, this franchise that they've made. And so very excited for it. I hope this little kind of preview has really excited you about what's coming up on Kickstarter as well, and has urged you to check it out. If you've never played this game, I can encourage you, if you like worker placement, if you like tableau building, a little bit of engine building, then Everdell is just a 10 out of 10. It is a phenomenal game that blows it out of the park in every possible way. Art, gameplay, interaction, strategy, replayability, as I've touched on. So this will be one that you won't want to miss. So thanks again for checking us out. I hope that you'll continue to come to Meeple Mountain for all of your board game related needs. And as always, happy gaming. Thanks for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Check out some of our other Meeple Mountain content. I promise you won't be disappointed. This is Tyler Williams, signing off.